pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open meeting, and I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. We have an open meeting to the public. I don't believe anybody signed on the sheet, so we will go to the next point of our agenda, which is last meeting's minutes. And everybody on the board has had a chance to review those minutes. Is there any changes or anything that the board wants to bring to the attention of the public?
I make a motion we accept the minutes as printed.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Bills, Mr. Letourneau?
There's no additions or deletions this evening.
Excuse
No
me?
additions or deletions this evening.
Okay.
Make a motion to pay the bills as written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Correspondence, Mr. Blatchmore?
I do have a few things for correspondence. First of all, I've received a thank you note, and I'll read it to everybody. I want to thank the village board for making my project of building a dog park for our furry babies a reality. The work crew did an amazing job in the constructing of it. A special thank you to Heath Carden, adding his special touch to the project and having to deal with me. Rouses Point is a beautiful village, and we are very fortunate to have a mayor and trustees who feel the same, and I vision to make it even more beautiful and better. Thank you from Lori Langlois. So thank you, Lori. The next thing that I want to bring up for correspondence is I've had numerous phone calls requesting that there be a crossing guard posted on Champlain Street in Maple. This time of the year, there's a lot of bike traffic, so a lot of the youths are crossing the intersection. My recommendation and suggestion to the board would be to hire a seasonal crossing guard for the months of, let's say, September through maybe the mid part of October, when you'd have a lot of the bike traffic, and then pick it back up again probably, say, May till the end of the school year in June. The other suggestion that I would have, if you want to move forward with this temporary position, or this part-time position, this individual could also be a fill-in for our crossing guard on Maple Street right now. If she's out sick, we have nobody to cover for her. She had a problem that was going to take place today, but she was able to resolve the problem, so I was going to have to go cover as being crossing guard. So I'm asking the board, based upon a lot of the concerns of the village residents, to consider having a part-time crossing guard on Champlain Street and Maple.
Any comments from the board?
No, I mean, I believe we've had a part-time crossing guard over there before, so I mean, I'm all in favor of putting one there. I know there is a lot of traffic that goes that way, so.
I believe from a safety issue, we have no choice but to furnish one. I mean, you hit the nail on the head, Mr. Lachimore, that the bike traffic with the warmer weather is there, and it, as we all know, everybody doesn't travel through our beautiful village doing the speed limit. And we don't need to have anyone injured when we could avoid it by having a crossing guard.
So I'll make a motion that we hire a part-time crossing guard for Champlain Street.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please. Trustee Pelkey?
Aye.
Trustee Menard?
Aye.
Trustee Arnold?
Aye.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
And the mayor votes aye. The motion is passed. Anything else, Mr. Administrator?
That's all I have for correspondence.
Okay. Now I have a village resolution, resolution number 2022-17, and I'll read it into the record. Whereas certain electrical customer accounts are deemed not collectible by the village and whereas it is advisable to write these accounts off our books, therefore be it resolved that the attached list of accounts be written off effective May 31st, 2022. This resolution shall take effect immediately. The question of the foregoing was duly put to a roll call vote, which resulted as follows. I won't take your job this time, Mr. Administrator. I'll let you call the roll call vote, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Trustee Pelkey,
Aye.
trustee Menard,
Aye.
trustee Rodriguez,
Aye.
and trustee Arno,
Aye.
and Mayor LaBounty.
Aye. Based on the following, the resolution has passed, and those debts will here be written off. One other issue that I would like to address, I will be able to supply a little bit of information, but it'll be limited. The village attorney, myself, and the administrator have been working these last couple of months to obtain information, to obtain a search warrant to go into the buildings on 64 Maple Street. We believed we attained enough information. We took that information, or I should correct myself, Mr. Murnane, our village attorney, took that information to a judge. The judge reviewed the application for the warrant, and he approved that warrant. So on May 25th, with a coordinated effort between the Sheriff's Department and the State Police standby, a number of us entered that building with the warrant in hand. When we entered that building, we discovered very unsafe conditions. We did not make that decision lightly. We brought in a code officer who works for the town of Champlain, who was working for us on this particular day. We brought in an electrical inspector who works for Commonwealth, who's well qualified. We brought in a computer expert from Twin State, a company in Peru that specializes in computers and can identify computers and what their function is. And we covered our ground. We went in, we took over 300 photographs, we took video, and based on our personal observations, and we had discussions with these individuals, and based on their recommendations of the unsafe conditions within that building, being deemed unsafe, and that was not condemned, the word is being deemed unsafe at this point. We placarded the gates, and we shut down the business. After discussions with the electrical engineer, I took it upon myself to order the electrical department, based on that recommendation, to give 1 hour notice to the people on 64 Maple Street, and we shut off the power. We observed, besides the unsafe conditions, were high energy use, high electrical use companies that violated our local laws. There is no doubt what we saw. There's no doubt what we can prove. We have experts who will give us written reports and direct observation from at least 7 different individuals that went into that building. And I want to say something. We're not anti-business, this board. We're not doing anything but protecting the village residents from illegal activities within our boundaries. And that's the only purpose for what we obtained this warrant for. I will work, and this board will work, with any business that wants to come into our village, that wants to work with us and give us a business plan and be open with us. We will be very happy to work with them to supply this village with jobs, valid jobs, not for companies to take advantage of our cheap electrical power. And that's what was going on. That's all I have to say. I don't know if anybody else on this board has a comment, but I will tell you that what I saw was shocking, the unsafe conditions, and I will not say much more because of possible legal action that may occur or may not occur. But I want the village residents to know, that we are working on their behalf. And there's one other thing, what I'm sick and tired of hearing. Mr. Rodriguez, I'll ask you, Trustee Rodriguez, during your term before I was the mayor, have you ever participated in a meeting or agreed with any board members to allow Bitcoin operations or server farms within the boundaries of this village?
No, sir.
Trustee Pelkey, have you ever agreed to allow server farm or Bitcoin operations and any discussions before I was the mayor?
No, sir.
Trustee Menard, have you ever agreed and took part in any meetings where you as a board member agreed to let Bitcoin operations and server farms within the boundaries of this village?
Definitely not.
Trustee Arnold, same question to you. Were you ever a participant in a meeting that would allow and circumvent our local law to allow Bitcoin operation or server farms within this village?
No, sir, Mr. Mayor.
So all those people on social media that can start all these rumors and misinformation, this is directly on the camera from 5 individuals. Nobody has agreed to allow any of these illegal operations with our village. Nobody has misled these people to invest millions of dollars into this business, and then all of a sudden we turn their back on them. That's all misinformation that's circulating out there, and it's not true. And I will continue to use this camera to correct the misinformation that's being put out there on social media. This is absolutely a joke. Our village board and this mayor is working for the best interest of this village. No more or no less. We don't have any personal biases, and we're not anti-business. That's the one thing that I want to emphasize to everybody who's watching this and every resident within this village. Thank you. I'll turn it over to Trustee Arnold. Do you have anything you want to say?
Yes, the ladies are doing a wonderful job on the flowers and the flower gardens. They're planted a lot of flowers and stuff and all over the village, and they're doing an excellent job. And very, very seldom they get a lot of credit. So if you see them on the street or someplace, thank them. They do a lot of hard work. Also, the library steps are almost done. Just a hand railing is in, got to be done. And the village crew put in some dirt over there and some stones around the building to make it look good with grass seed. And another thing I have is an executive session.
Okay, we'll have an executive session after we conclude this meeting.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second on that?
Yep.
All those in favor of the executive session?
Aye.
Okay. Ayes have it. Anything else, Trustee Arnold?
No, that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Trustee Menard, anything?
Yes, I'd just like to reiterate, the library steps look really good. Thank you for the village crew for putting up the pavers and the dirt. It looked really, really nice around there. And another thing I want to add to Lori Langlois and address the village people. The dog park is now open, so if you have a pet, you don't want them to run free, it's in the fence, it's all fenced in. I would like to thank all the village employees that worked on it. They did a great job, it looks great. Anybody that wants to take a look, it's down by the Veterans Park, right off the rec center. Looks good, and I want to thank everybody, and let's get some good use out of it. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Trustee Pelkey?
Yes, first thing on my agenda is the village-wide yard sale is coming up, June 18th. So it's not this weekend, it's next weekend. So I want to announce that because this is we won't have another board meeting by then, so. Also, I have a note from Brian Giano, the chief water plant operator. He sent me a note saying that he wanted to announce that we have completed the first of the 2 rounds of lead and copper testing that they're doing this year. After receiving the results from the lab, I am happy to report that the compliance with the regulations for lead and copper in the water. We would like to acknowledge the cooperation of the residents in the process of thanking them for their continued help with this process. Yours truly, Brian Jones. That's a little update from him. The wastewater, I talked to Danny Gay about our project that we're doing with the dumping site, and all the plans are in, they're just waiting for the approval from DEC. And once we get that approval, we have pretty much everything in stock to do the project. So, the stuff that we have in our yard that we're gonna reuse, so. Other than that, that's it, that's all I have.
Thank you, trustee Pelkey. Trustee Rodriguez?
Yeah, I had a question, is if there was a way we could possibly reach out to the Altona prison and work with them to have like their work crew inmates come out and do some beautification projects in the village to save from our employees that have doing it, our employees can then work on other projects.
I know that has been done in the past. I've seen it as a residence where they were working along the lake and stuff. I don't see a problem with that unless there's an insurability problem, which I don't know. I would have to talk to the administrator and find out what we have for communications with Altona Prison and what's available at this point in time, but I don't see a problem with that unless any other board members do.
No, I think it's a good idea.
I think anytime we could save money by having free help to beautify our village, we'd be foolish not to take advantage of it.
I agree.
Okay? Anything else, trustee Rodriguez?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Any other reports,
The
Mr.
other,
Administrator?
yes, there's one other thing I'd like to bring up to the board. At this point in time, if the board is not aware of this, the village is in need of 2 pickup trucks. One of the trucks would be for Public Works, and the other truck would be for the electric department. What I have done is I went out to the New York State called the Marketplace, and what they do is they do a mass marketing as far as for bids. And when I went out to the Marketplace, we received 0 bids back. There's problems as far as getting brand new pickup trucks. So with that being said, what I'm going to ask the board for the approval of is to allow me to advertise in the paper to see if we can get some local bids on 2 pickup trucks. That we're,
Any
going
discussion?
through the Marketplace, you don't need to put it out to bid because it's a state-approved program. But since we had no hits on that, this is the next alternative.
Any questions for the administrator, anybody?
They're both budgeted.
They're both budgeted, but we need to make sure that the bids fall within our budget.
Within our budget.
And if they don't, then we're gonna have another discussion.
We're all happy?
I make a motion, we authorize the administrator to go, to advertise, to go out to bid for the 2 pickups.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. The board has voted to approve that.
Thank you. The next thing that I have for the board is, Public Works has been down an employee for almost a year. We had an employee that went out on workers' comp, and he had surgery done on May 26th of 2021, and he has been out for 1 full year. He's unable to come back to work to do 100% of his duties. So underneath New York civil law, section 71, we can terminate his employment. So with that being said, because of the duties entailed in the public works side of it, and he's unable to perform 100% of his duties, what I have done is I have mailed the employee termination letter. So he will cease his employment as of today. So the next thing that I'm gonna ask the board would be to give me the permission to advertise for the position of Public Works for an MEO2.
I make a motion to authorize our village administrator to go, to publicize for the MEO2.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. You have the ability to do that, Mr. Administrator.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor. Chris, have you got any hits on the other jobs that we put out?
for the typist.
Typist and, was it the one for the electrical department?
So the electric one for the line helper, you have to publish it in-house. So I did publish it in-house. There hasn't been anybody that has applied for it. So I knew that there was gonna be this position coming up for the public works, so I'm gonna advertise all of them at the same time in the paper. So it has not been advertised in the press yet.
Anything else, Mr. Administrator?
No, sir.
Okay. Before we go into executive session, does anybody from the public have any comments? Mr. Burt's?
Having been advised of the situation at 64 Maple Street, I would like to thank the board on behalf of the village for the great job that each and every one did during the turmoil that we had when we had the people in there that were blasting you on Facebook, that were asking for our attorney's resignation and each and every board member's resignation. I would like to thank you for standing up for the village residents and persisting and coming to this great resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Burt.
Thank you.
Anyone else have a comment? Then, without further ado, we are going to adjourn and take an executive session.
Make a motion to recess?
Recess.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, we're going to go into executive session.